to our work meeting. And we went over and saw Canyon Park and the good things they have going on over there. And now we're moving to a presentation from Alpine Aqueduct project. Macy, Orem, and Bowen.
So Mayor, I'm here to introduce Court Lamson. He's the project manager for the Alpine Aqueduct, as you can see on the screen, the Reach 1 Risk and Resiliency Project. Alpine Aqueduct is the main water line that comes through the upper golf course area, the old Cascade golf course area, where they've determined that there is some high risk with some landslides and some earthquake zones and so forth. Just wanted to preface this by saying that 60% of our drinking water comes through the pipe that he will be discussing at this time. So this is mission critical for us. It's our aorta if we have one in our water system.
Thank you, Chris. As I said, my name is Court Lamson. I've been with the district 30 years, so I'm the guy that's got all the knowledge that's been there the longest. And so I voted in to give this presentation today. I've been working on this aqueduct for probably 25 of those 30 years, and so I'm pretty familiar with it. A little background, the Alpine Aqueduct is part of the Central Utah Project, which was Utah's effort to utilize the Colorado River water shares that we have. The largest unit of the Central Utah Project is the Bonneville unit, that's the green, the big green blob there, and that was primarily built to convey water from the Uinta Basin, Trans Basin, into the Bonneville Basin. So that's how it gets the Bonneville unit name. There are a number of systems that make up the Bonneville unit. One of them is the M&I system. So that starts on essentially the Provo River. We stabilize some lakes up in the high Uintas, Trial Lake, Washington Lake, Lost Lake. We operate those dams. Water is conveyed down to Jordanelle. We constructed Jordanelle. That's part of the M&I system. It flows down the Provo River through Deer Creek and on down to the Olmsted diversion. And so at the Olmsted diversion, we divert the water out that then goes through aqueducts through North Utah County and through Salt Lake County. In fact, we can deliver water up to 21st South in Salt Lake. So it's quite the project. This zooms in on the Alpine Aqueduct area. In red is the Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1. It takes water from the Olmsted flow line over to adjacent to the Don A. Christiansen treatment plant up on the hill. There it connects to the Alpine Reach 3 aqueduct that goes as far up as across from Micron, the Micron site. It also connects to Jordan Aqueduct Reach 4, which then goes up into Salt Lake Valley. The purple line coming downward, that's Alpine Aqueduct Reach 2, and that's the backbone of your distribution system in town. And that, as Chris said, that provides 60% water supply.
Just a quick question on that.
Yes.
If you can go back to that previous slide. I'm just curious if that Alpine Aqueduct Reach 3, if that's just transporting from here to Salt Lake, or if it's feeding Pleasant Grove and Highland and cities along the
It
way?
feeds cities through North Utah County. It's a raw water line. It's not treated. So it feeds pressurized systems in Linden, PG, Cedar Hills, AF, Highland, and Alpine.
Okay, so they're all relying on that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The blue line in the light blue and the dark blue, that's the Alpine Aqueduct. The light blue dashed lines are portions of it that we have replaced because of issues related to slides and other things. The pipeline was originally constructed in 1980, and we did work on it in 2001, major repairs on it. The yellow line that shows there, that is the Provo River Aqueduct, or formerly the Murdoch Canal. So just for location there.
Where does water come out of the old Murdoch Canal?
there are turnouts through the county, and then it goes up to the point of the mountain. There's a water treatment plant that the Metropolitan Water District of Salt Lake has built there at the point of the mountain, and it feeds that.
But it's gray water until it gets treated, right?
Yeah,
For
it's
irrigation or
yeah.
our agricultural needs. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
So one of the first turnouts, Tom, when we had our field trip last week, and on a recent submittal for land development, 1600 North and 4th East, you have the Harley Gilman property.
Yes.
There's a massive, not massive, but there's a relatively large concrete structure there right next to the trail. That's a turnout off the Murdoch Canal, which is now known as the Provo River Aqueduct.
It probably works better if I sit down, so I'm not standing in front of the screen, right? Okay, so the Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1 is a vital artery for the state. Over 1.6 million people take water from that, depend on that in some form or another. It's supplemental water. It's not a full supply, but it supplements them. There's 3 treatment plants, one in Orem, one in Bluffdale, and one at the point of the mountain that treat that water. This slide, a little hard to see, but shows all of the aqueducts that come through the Provo Canyon area. There's the Salt Lake Aqueduct, which is in the purple line. There's the Olmsted flow line, which is in the blue. The brown is the Provo River Aqueduct. The green coming up from the bottom is the connection from the Central Utah project that brings water from Strawberry up and ties into the system at the mouth of the canyon. The red is the Alpine Aqueduct there, reaches 1 and 2. And so a majority of the northern part of the state's water, at least Utah and Salt Lake counties, comes through the mouth of Provo Canyon. So it's a critical location. As I said, there have been a number of slides that have affected that aqueduct and that we've had to repair. We felt in 2019 that we needed to do a full-blown geological investigation to identify the hazards that were there, what the risks are, and find solutions to make that aqueduct more resilient. The results of the study show that there is a very large ancient landslide, call it the Paleo slide, that's identified in the red, with the red line there, that the Alpine Aqueduct crosses. And part of the issues that we've had are as a result of this massive slide. It's very old, hasn't majorly slid for a long time, but there are slides around the toe of the slide that happen quite frequently. The other issue is there are 3 splays of the Wasatch Fault identified there on the right with the red dashed lines. The Alpine Aqueduct's alignment is in the green there. And so as we got into that study, it was pretty obvious that we wanted to avoid the landslide if we could. If you think about running a pipe or an artery across a massive amount of material that's moving, a big slow-moving bulldozer or a glacier, doesn't matter how strong you build that, you cannot resist those forces. That gravity will pull that down and take your pipe right with it. The slide or the fault traces are another story. We can design to handle that movement. So that's what our proposal was.
And going across the slide at that angle is better than kind of the straight along the bottom, I'm assuming.
We're trying to avoid the slide
Okay.
now. And so we've come up with an alignment that avoids the slide, that goes around the slide, and then we're going to cross the faults at a fairly close to a right angle.
Okay.
So that we can deal with that movement. So this kind of oblique view shows you where the slide is located there above the neighborhood. The yellow line is following, that straight portion is 8th east, or excuse me, 8th north. So it's north of that. A couple of years ago, there was a lot of news about the risk of aqueducts and seismic hazards. This news story came out in 2022. The results, it was generated from a report by the Utah Geological Survey, and they stated that within the next 50 years, there's a 43% chance of there being a 6.75 magnitude earthquake somewhere on the Wasatch Front, 57% of it being larger than 6.0. So we feel that this is a critical piece of infrastructure that we need to try to protect. So the Wasatch Fault is a normal fault, as shown in this photo. There to the right, the ground will drop down and away. And so if you've got a pipe that crosses that, it somehow needs to handle that displacement, and it needs to grow. It's kind of hard to get steel to grow unless you carefully design that. So last year on the property on the up just east of 1560 East, we dug a couple of trenches across the fault. So this is one of the trenches that we dug, and can anybody tell where the fault is there?
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious the difference between the light color and the dark color. And so they have calculated and estimate that there will be 12.5 feet of movement, both vertically and horizontally. And so we have to design a pipe that will survive that kind of displacement. This is the eastern splay of the fault. The central splay is down the street a little bit to the west, and we'll have to similarly design a pipe that will work there, that will handle that displacement. So this shows the alignment in the black that we have. On the right-hand side, it starts out with a tunnel. We have a vertical shaft that'll drop 60 feet, and then we'll tunnel through the rock, and then follows that curve. As it then turns and takes the southerly jog, that will be pipeline, and we'll bring that south and then cross the eastern splay at an angle, and then we'll go west along 1060 north, and we'll have to have, as we cross the central strand, we'll have to design for that. And then that will wind itself back up through the golf course and back up to the treatment plant. We're anticipating that we will bid this project this fall, looking to award in our October board meeting. We're currently in the process of pre-qualifying contractors who we feel will be qualified to build this project. It will take a significant amount of time to get the pipe fabricated. One of the options that we're looking at would come from Japan, Kubota pipe, the same people that make the tractors. And this pipe is designed so that it can handle that displacement. There are other options that we're also evaluating closely right now. But it'll take probably 10 months to get that pipe. So building within the next year we won't be able to put that pipe in. We can get steel pipe much sooner, and we'll start putting that pipe in next spring once we get it, and we'll lay the portions that we can. But this will take 2 seasons to build. At the same time, the tunneling will be going on the east end of the project, and that it's not dependent on fabrication.
Court,
Yes.
have you already begun the conversations with the residents who will be inconvenienced? And
We've had preliminary discussions with them. We had to go through the environmental process, the NEPA process, and we had an open house a couple of years ago in it was September. We had that meeting then, and we've completed that process. We are planning to have another meeting probably within the next month as we're finalizing some of our planning. we have a number of issues. Well, let me just kind of back up. This is 1060 north. You can see it's relatively narrow, 30 to 34 feet wide. And so we would need to put 108-inch pipe down the middle of this. Obviously, that's a major disruption. We understand that. And we've done some preliminary planning on how we can accommodate that, but we will need to have the residents buy in on which one they feel would best meet their needs. You can see in the upper left inset how that pipe would lay in the street. In order to get this in, we have to relocate the sewer that's existing there, the water line. What we plan on doing is putting 2 sewers in, one on each side of the pipe, so we don't have to bring the laterals from one side of the street to the other. We'll be relocating the water line to create a little more space for that. And so we anticipate that the utility relocations will occur the first year next construction season, beginning in March or April. And those will be completed. We'll then patch the road and come in the following season with the big pipe. And once it's all completed, then we will have a completely rebuilt road, new pavement, curb to curb.
So beginning to end for that neighborhood, how long will that process be?
We have anticipated that there'll be about a 4 to 5 month season each year when we will be in there. We're very aware that we need to try to have things done before school starts in the fall. So that's our target, is to get the work going in March and let that go into August. It seems that school starts a week earlier every year. By the time this project starts, school will start in July. I don't know. But we've hired Corex engineers. We have Bo Hunter in the back. His team will be coordinating with the residents and the contractor to make sure that they all know what is important or what's going on. We've learned that if people know what's coming, know what to expect, they deal with it a lot better. And Bo and his team have been very good at doing that. Like I say, we're planning to have an open house meeting within a month to try to let them know more of what's going on. They know what's coming, but they haven't heard the details. We know that we've got some open issues as to how to provide access to the homes. We put that big of a pipe down the middle of the street with a track hoe that you can't get down the street. How do we deal with the residents and their vehicles? How do we get them to that? How do we cover mail and package delivery, garbage service, yard maintenance, pest control, other pool maintenance, all of those things? How do we do that? And we've put a lot of thought and ideas into it, but we don't know exactly how that'll play out based on what they decide.
How many decks are coming there?
I think it's 16 homes on 1060 East, and then on 1060 North, then on 1360 East, there's 5 that are affected.
There's also the cul-de-sac kind of on the northeast quadrant there that isn't direct impact, but they're really close to the work that's happening. One thing I'd like to add, sorry to interrupt, Ward.
No, that's fine.
The last maybe 8 months, there's been a lot of discussion about when you go to public, when we talk to them. The district put a lot of effort into trying to minimize impacts and also trying to understand the best way to build this to minimize those impacts. And so there was a value engineering workshop done in January, and a huge part of that was, can we avoid this neighborhood? Is that something we can do? And the result was no, we can't. And so since January, there's been a lot of energy put into this design and how do we build it in a way that minimizes the impact. And it will have high impacts, but there's also been a lot of work put into, okay, how do we best accommodate them now that we know what these impacts are going to look like? And that's what we'll roll out to them in our neighborhood meetings here in Elmhurst.
So impacts for the city facilities, we obviously are going to be rebuilding sewer, water, storm drains, full reconstruction or partial reconstruction, depending on where it's at. Those residential streets will be haul routes, and we know that heavy trucks have a tendency to chew up the road. When we're finished, we will mill and overlay those roads so they'll have a clean surface. We will provide emergency access, working with the contractor. If there's an emergency, they'll have to move their equipment out of the way that they can get to that. One thing that we will need to work out with the city is a grant for a non-exclusive easement in the 1060 East and 1060 North and 1360 East for the pipeline. So we'll be working through that with you. Our next steps is we're in the final stages of acquiring a major portion of the aqueduct or the easement. Like I said, we're pre-qualifying contractors, and we just received a 90% design package this week. So we'll complete the design and bid the project, and looking to award in our October board meeting. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Can you just explain? So the current pipe is how big it's carrying that water?
It's 90-inch diameter,
And the new one's 108?
108.
And then how does that work? You mentioned about it's difficult for a pipe to expand and get bigger. So what's the engineering behind the 108-inch pipe?
It's the joints. The joints are specifically designed so that they can rotate a little bit and they can stretch or compress a little bit. And so to get
that like overlays itself and work next together.
Yeah, and so there's restraining rings that keep it from expanding and pulling apart. That locks that in. And you accommodate that movement by each joint moves so much, and so you've got to have enough joints together that you can accommodate 12.5 feet. And so
I believe a lot of that technology was developed by Kubota in Japan.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of intense earthquakes in that nation, of course. And so it's quite intriguing and fascinating to learn what they've developed.
Yeah.
we've been working
It's
with
very
steel
close.
pipe manufacturers, and they are thinking that they can design something to accommodate that. We're waiting for them to come back with their design proposal. We're expecting that within a month. And that will lead us as to which way we're going to go.
And just so you know, they're not just starting off this process, of course. We've been working closely with them as an engineering group and a public works group, managing the utilities and providing feedback and coordinating with them and their design team, who's Jacobs Engineering, and their internal staff at Central Utah Water. We've had numerous meetings and hundreds of hours of contemplation by many different people that have their eyes on this. So it's been really good to work together with them. It's been a joy working with their team.
Just because we're always big into, improving customer service and that sort of thing, and like you say, there'll be big disruption for 20 plus hours. Will they have someone that can give them sort of real-time information that they can call or interact with?
Yes, that's what Bo's group will be doing, and they'll have a hotline, they'll have a blast text feed that everybody that signs up will get the latest information. And we know that the best laid plans don't pan out. I have a favorite quote that the best laid plans don't survive first contact with the enemy. We're planning as hard as we can for whatever contingency, but we know that there'll be challenges. And so we'll deal with them, but we know we've got to communicate. And that's the key to being able to get through this.
We'll also have someone on site regularly. I mean, not 24/7, but we'll have someone there regularly knocking doors. And we have a whole list of things that we're going to do to try to minimize the impact to them and try to help them. When we build the pipe in front of each driveway, that's the highest impact when the big pipe goes in. And so we'll have restrictions on the contractor, how long they can have that closed, but we're doing everything we can to move the construction as fast as we can and also accommodate and help them through that process. In fact, I don't think I've ever worked on a project where more effort or investment has been made on the public involvement side of a project.
Fantastic.
That'd be good. We'll have a direct measure of that for you by the number of emails and phone calls. Goal will be to have hardly any.
It'll be a lot. Someone, you will or we will get a lot of calls and or emails, and we'll be on first name basis with a lot of the residents. They'll know us.
Yeah.
I believe they call it the basketball corridor, is what they've chosen. Is that right? Is that something like that?
We joked about that with Ryan Smith.
Ryan Smith is the owner
Mark
of Jazz,
Pope.
right, and Mark Pope, and others intimately involved, so.
Can you let us know what this information meeting is for those residents?
Yes, we will. We haven't set that. We did pick a date, but all of us are going to be at a conference, and so we need to move it. So yes, we will provide that information.
Yeah, we'll make sure you know when we meet with them. We'll also do, once a contractor's selected, we'll know more about their phasing and scheduling. We try to dictate everything that they do, but we do have some parameters about what they can or can't do. We'll also do a community event kind of north of 800 North and try to get a lot of the residents to come and engage and get additional information at that time. So we'll make sure the council is aware of when we're having touch points with those residents.
Okay, if there's nothing else, that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for updating. Sounds like a major project.
Thanks for letting us come. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm here to present an update before you today for stationary plan to initiate certification. And just a quick few slides, kind of recapping the process we've been through. This all started with House Bill 462. That was passed in 2022, which the intent is to maximize the potential appropriate areas and then empower cities and residents and citizens of those cities to determine how to meet these objectives, which are to increase availability, affordability of housing, promote sustainable environmental conditions, enhance access to opportunities, and increase transportation choices and connections. So as you're well aware, I have John Jansen in the back here. If there's any questions on that there, through a technical assistance, but which was also appropriated through that House bill, we hired John and Christy and Jake, their team, to facilitate this stationary plan. And we selected them primarily because of their extensive background in public engaged planning processes. And so they had come up with this 4-stage process. We initially had a public workshop in June of 2023. Then we had several following open houses. Earlier this year, February, we had a vision concept celebration. And then since then, we've had some mechanics we've worked through with stakeholders to now where we can initiate the implementation stage. And so just to recap of the engagements that took place throughout the whole entire planning process, many engaged this with you all multiple times. We had a tour of the station area last year. We had a stakeholder formed as part of this process that we initiated with City Council. And we had brainstorming scenarios, evaluations, which kind of stemmed from that initial workshop. So there were 17 maps created from that workshop. Scenarios were then created, focused on those 4 main objectives that we needed to meet for the statutory departments. So these were the initial scenarios that had been created through the stakeholder committee and engagement, which then eventually, through further feedback with the stakeholder committee, with many of you, with the meetings that you all had individually, we have this final vision concept, which is in the plan draft that was also included for your review. And so this will be the vision concept that we are forwarding on to Mountain Land Association of Governments. And their role in this process statutorily is they are the regional planning agent, metropolitan planning organization for our area, and statutorily they are our certification body. So up in the Salt Lake, Tooele, Davis counties, it's Washington, Wasatch Front Regional Council, who is the certifying body for their plan, stationary plans. For us, it is Mountain Land. And so we have initiated that certification process. And I'll just recap, this is kind of the included in the plan. This is the vision that was finalized through the planning process for the immediate station area. These are some renderings and views of the current station and what the rendering that was envisioned in the immediate station area for the station. You see it's the rail cars there. And so, as I said, we've initiated this with Mountain Land Association of Governments. This is their certification process. So we've applied pending your vote on the resolution tonight. That will be the final step for us to deliver that resolution to MAG, that we have your approval as to the substance of the plan for certification. And so then MAG has then initiated a review with UTA, as they're required to be involved in this statutorily. MAG, after that review, will send us any comments. We have three choices. We can decide to make modifications, which then we would, if we make any modifications, we would have to come back to you. But we can also withdraw, or we can submit the stationary plan as is without any changes. Then that will be up to their stationary plan policy committee meeting, which is September 18th. Following that, they'll issue a conditional certification. If there's any deficiencies, they will deliver those as well. After that, because it's conditional, it will return back to us for a final adoption to the general plan and any applicable zoning updates. And then pending those, MAG receiving those resolutions, MAG will issue a final certification. And so that's kind of where we've been and what's up, what we're presenting tonight in the main meeting for your consideration. Any questions? That's a lot. The plan, the document itself is well over 100 pages, including the appendices, which includes the existing reports and conditions that our consultants gathered to get. So,
Well, I just from the cuff, thank you. I mean, this has been a long process.
yes, it has.
And, we've just seen just the tiny tip of the iceberg of all the work that's gone into this, putting this together. What is the actual deadline? Is there like a hard deadline?
The deadline per the statute is December 2025 for us to meet that deadline, which would mean we would have until December 2025 for completing all of our stationary plans and applicable adoptions and zoning updates.
So we've got some time. I mean, so December of 2025.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and December 31st, sorry, December 31st, 2025 is the date in the statute.
So does this, you say this needs to be adopted into our general plan.
Correct.
And our general plan is due for an update. It's past due, right? We did it in 2018. We're supposed to do them every 5 years. We're right there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, first of all, I just want to agree with Jeff. I mean, this has been amazing, this project, right? I went to a lot of the meetings, public meetings, and just really pulling this all together. You guys have really done a great job trying to take the feedback and put it all into one place when you have so many different opinions. As I studied this, I haven't had a lot of time to study it, but as I look this over, there's a few things in here that kind of give me pause because they seem to be topics that that I would think would be better addressed in just another section of our general plan. So, like our general plan still has a State Street master plan in it. And it does have a moderate income housing component, which I feel like was pulled into here, which maybe we should pull out because I'm on the CHA with Tom. I'm on one of the CHAs with Tom's housing thing and just had a meeting last week with the league. And those are still fluid. That legislation is still kind of fluid with our moderate income housing and with even our trying to brainstorm for affordable housing in our communities. So I guess something that gives me pause with this right now, as I was reading through some of this, maybe I'm just more in tune because I've been to these meetings, right, Tom? We've had 2 or 3 of them. Where people are really brainstorming for some additional ideas because the comments that have been said in this meetings are, we keep doing the same thing over and over, but we're not solving the problem.
It's even worse when we're bringing the contractors with the other side.
Really?
I mean, you're just talking with the Utah League of City and Towns, which are more harmonious. But the other side brings in, and Steve, you've sat on some of those with me. I co-chair one of the governor's commissions and they ask, we say yes on one, and then they ask for another 4 items, and Steve, would you word that somewhat differently, or?
No, you're absolutely right.
And so it's this pull and tug, so you're seeing only the people of like minds in the room, or relatively like minds.
Which we're already having discussions
Right.
with that, right? From paying to parking on the street, making residents pay for the parking in front of their house, to tandem driveways, to anyway, all kinds of ideas being floated out there, but the one comment that has really struck me that came up in this last meeting was, okay, I'm really not feeling like these ideas are actually going to address the issues.
Right. Are they gonna lower the price of housing?
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
real question.
We're gonna give the developers and the builders all these gifts and then how's that gonna equate?
I take a more macro approach to that. I believe it ultimately will reduce the price if we reduce the cost of doing business.
Mhm.
But there's no way you're gonna prove that in the
Yeah.
micro.
Yeah.
You're not gonna say that house costs John or Susan less because we charge less in planning,
Because at the end of the day, demand will drive those prices.
Right.
Yeah, and it was one
Right.
thing that was brought up that Steve brought up
You
was
must
they
have taken
said,
an economics class along the way.
Steve was like, they were saying,
Well,
well, let's not make
Yeah.
builders put a garage. And Steve's like, we don't do that, Norm. We don't make them build a garage, but they
Some
do
cities
because
do.
people demand it. People want it.
They build it because
That's
to the mayor's point, that's what the public demands.
right. So back to this, and I guess I'm kind of having some pause on approving this tonight. Because I feel like I would almost like to trim this down to be more specific to things that we know will not be fluid, will not change. Because my interpretation of this, tell me if I'm wrong, Steve, we adopt this, and then that means that the next step is to then put ordinances in place to make this happen. Well, if we have some things changing, we may want to allow ourselves a little more flexibility. Like one of the things that I really would like to help out with is, student housing. Maybe we can create some incentives or some zoning or something that would guarantee that some of these units are built with the student housing model. Right now, we have students taking up our housing stock for families because they need a place to live. But by taking up our housing stock, I mean that condo isn't designed to have 4 students living in it. It's actually in violation of our occupancy ordinances So it's not a housing model product that fulfills a need. So I guess I almost feel like, what are we doing? We're doing the same thing we've done, and this was in these meetings I went in. We're just building, but we're not fulfilling needs because we're not targeting the building to what the need is. And in Orem, we have very unique needs with our students. We really want to start providing better options for our student populations.
But earlier you said no plan survives the first punch in the face, right?
It was the.
Or the predecessor.
The predecessor.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But that's not on our end, right? That's them telling us we need to, I would almost like to provide a little different twist to them. Maybe pull out some of this stuff that's more general plan and really like, I mean, we talk about having a grocery store in here, how we need to have a grocery store. So are we gonna zone a specific area for a grocery store?
We could, I mean, that, the zoning process is still gonna be, come to you. And we would draft up something that could include, similar to what we've seen with the PD zones, almost if you think of that way, that we could say, hey, within this area, there's a very strict limited view, what's allowed as uses here. And then, in the case of, if you use this image as kind of an imaginary, example, we could say, hey, in the UTA property, which is the property adjacent to the station, we could create a specific zone area. Now, some of the zoning around the station is already in place. And so we may already have what we have there to meet the requirements. And that is kind of where we have to go to MAG and say, does this meet? And that's they're a check against, do we objectively meet the requirements of the statute? And so it's almost, they put out this policy committee, this policy certification process as almost a part before the wheel, essentially, that we have to send this to them. And we're trying to avoid, I guess they said they were trying to avoid kind of a lot of back and forth, but we could still do that. We could still say what's appropriate here, and then we could limit, but that zoning that would come forward to you would be up for discussion and consideration.
I guess I want to be more targeted in that if we put it here and it's this wonderful, plan, how do I say this? It's like our general plan. We try to be pretty broad.
Correct.
If we could be more targeted, I think we would have more success in having developers come in, seeing what we want them to build, getting the ordinances in place and having it built,
I agree.
Because then we don't have the fight when the zoning change comes in or when the development comes in. Everybody knows what's on the table.
Right, and even with the zoning that's in place down, if you remember the piece of property that's closer to the University Parkway there, that's in this boundary of this, I'll go back here. So this piece that's close to the University Parkway, that's in the boundary, that has been modified and has the parking standards that we know need to have down there. So the zoning right next to the station could also have that as a consideration. And you could I think we could exactly target the zoning to specific uses that we want to create. We could include, Councilman Mill, you brought up the incentives idea before, to try and say, hey, could we try to target ownership? Could we try to target different types of units? I think you bring up an excellent point for the type of products. There are different types of products, I think, that we could look at from the zoning perspective that would be more amenable to students and that population age. And maybe it's even working with UVU to say, I've in the meetings through the plan process, don't hate me, but I went to the University of Utah, and I followed, as alumni, I followed what they've committed to do. They've committed to add so many housing units on their campus because they recognize they're a community campus. And so it's a partnership we can work through with UVU. They've been an excellent partner through our process, working with them. With most of the station area land is we recognize their master plan and their planning intents and processes. But is there a partnership we can work with them to even have some units be just for their students? Or, this, and Orem's unique, I think we have not just UVU, we've got UIU just down the street. So there's both populations too that we almost have to, there might be a student that has lots of friends that go to UVU, but they also live at they go to BYU and they can jump on UVX and back to the campus. And so I think there's another layer there as well we could look into for not just UVU population. Of course, they're right next to the rec and in our boundary, but the other population.
I just feel like I'm looking at on this page 7 where we talk about, you have Orem City has adopted 5 strategies to address housing affordability. So we're talking about the one, and actually one of them includes detached accessory dwelling units, which that's actually, we're talking about that in these meetings that Tom and I are going to.
Right.
And that's not succeeding right now. That's not,
It's almost cost prohibitive
right.
a lot of times.
So I guess my ask today is, I would really, and I don't know how everybody else feels, but I almost feel like, and let me add this too, so I'm on the MAG stationary plan commission, right? So I've got Lehigh Cities here, theirs is 50 pages long, right? Theirs is very targeted, which I really almost would like to see. I think we could really modify this very easily, just to sit down and say, this is really good. Let's set this aside here for our general plan, and let's kind of target this a little more so we can get what we need. Sometimes I think if we're too broad, it's gonna get confusing and just get,
Okay,
do you know what I'm saying? Am I making?
I believe
sense?
so. I think though, we just wanna make sure we are still living in enough that will meet the requirements. And so I've been communicating with MAG for this kind of, like I said, cart before the wheel process. They're happy, if you want to have some, updates to what we have today, they're happy to hold it and we can make those changes, come back to you for what you're recommending, we make some little tweaks, and then we can go to the December certification meeting, which we would fall under.
Okay, so you see that as a good possibility. We're not stuck with this September meeting.
Well, I mean, that's always been like, the only thing we'll be up against is if we push with our other stationary plans as well, then we'll be up against the last meeting next year.
Right.
Which I suspect would be some of the other communities will be potentially looking at, not necessarily.
And Provo's done theirs, Lehigh's done theirs.
But they have not begun certification,
Okay.
from my understanding.
Certification means it has to be approved, what's the need?
So this process, so
By the council.
No, it's fine.
process with
To take it to MAG, certify MAG, then the city adopts it and then MAG issues the final certification.
So that's kind of where I am, and maybe I'm just here because like I've been to these meetings, right? This has been my little assignment here, so I'm just maybe trying to think of ways that we could really have this be successful and really target it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because when you come to making ordinances, when we come to that point, I'm very hesitant, right? Making law. I mean, I want to make sure that the law is gonna actually provide the outcome that we want.
And maybe part of this
And be
process
clear.
could be, we look at what the existing zoning is, and is that also targeted, right? With what the plan addresses, and then, so maybe, an action item for us would be to reach out to you all on any specific items you'd like us to tweak.
Okay.
To amend, and then we can work on those within making sure that they're not pulling out any critical elements for certification, and then we can follow up with you all. Does that sound like a good path forward?
And we could kind of delineate what we want to be, I mean, this is for the future, but our updated master plan. I mean, things that we think should be in there
Yeah,
versus
to
target things for
as far
this.
as what parts are gonna be fitting in with the general plan update, what parts fit in with the adoption of this stationary plan.
I want to touch on one thing, the last chapter, this implementation.
Come up here so we can hear you on mic.
Okay, Mike,
Wherever.
where's Mike?
There is none, it's loud.
Okay, some.
Speak everywhere.
But that last chapter has implementation in it. And we debated quite a bit how far to go with that. So implementation covers all the different topics within the station area plan. So I just like to suggest you take a peek at that, another peek, and kind of see if you think that has more of what you were worried about in terms of who should we be coordinating with, how do we go about this, those kinds of things. And that's in that last chapter. And honestly, we debated how much to suggest to you, okay? Right? I mean, is it really the consultant's role to say you shall do these things? No. But it's planting some ideas, suggestions, those kinds of things. That's in that last chapter. And that's, I think, something that y'all ought to take a closer look at.
Thank you.
Because it suggests a lot of programs, not just zoning. So,
Correct.
Good.
okay.
And that is a piece that is required for us to include in the stationary plan is the 5-year implementation. And as to John's, as we chatted with John about that, we didn't know how deep do you get with, and for a planning document, plans change. And so it's, if for a 5-year time frame, it's like, okay, well, let's really critically focus on these first 2 years and programmatically, how does that look? So I think, I'll follow up with Ryan and, Gary, for the next steps, so we can come back with, something, maybe, I don't know when, but give us some time.
Mr. Spencer, I think you and I have now, this will be the third one of these we approve. And if my numbers are right, and no one of them survived the scrutiny a few years down the road. So it isn't like we're putting in concrete, because future councils will tweak this a bit and change it. So I don't want to be cavalier about how much effort we're putting in. I agree with Lene on her earlier statements of what are we doing. But it is going to tweak, and you've been in city government much longer than we have, and the consultant in the back is rattling his head in the affirmative, so I don't think we well, you look pretty good for a man who's 112, you look very good. But we have, this isn't concrete, it's the best thinking we have at this time, respecting future councils to tweak it in their personal belief as that time comes. So I don't want to be, well, let's just put a stamp on it, put it in mail. I want to be as detailed as you want to be, Lene, but
You can't solve everything.
you're not
can't know the
gonna
future.
guess what's gonna
Yeah.
happen in 2032.
I agree.
So
Can you clarify as far as how this comes together? So it's a plan,
Correct.
but we're talking about changing zoning based on the plan,
Which is part of the statute, so.
which is part of the statute.
So, yeah, if there is applicable zoning that has to be updated along with.
So changing zoning is a pretty big deal.
Right,
Right.
and that's where we have some zoning in place, and so we can evaluate that against what we're recommending. I think to Lene's credit too, for targeting that zoning, we can say what if anything needs to adjust, what do we want to adjust very carefully, and then it might even be some kind of overlay zone that if it meets certain criteria. But I think we want to make sure we get the planning document portion meeting the requirements to then lead us to that zoning process. So.
Okay, and then to Tom's point, I mean, so we're creating this zoning, we got this structure in place. But whether or not it gets fulfilled depends on a lot of other variables over the next 3, 4, 5, 6, however many years, right? So it's basically saying, this is where we want to go with this. We're putting things in place to make this happen. But the market has to make it happen, and a lot of other things have to make it happen, right?
And from the last few months of working closely with UVU, recognizing their property, we could even just focus some of the zoning on this UTA piece that's right adjacent to the station. And that's the first piece that we focus on. And that would, I think, match the intent and fit in with what we're recommending with the plan.
And then one last question.
Yeah.
So we go to December to get this approved, if we extend it out like we're talking about, how does that tie in with the other plans that need to be submitted by the following December? Are they gonna be the same extensive process? Because I've even heard that a lot of that's not defined completely, and it may even change in the next legislative session.
Possibly.
So, it's just,
At this point, we're moving forward with what we know are the requirements, and as we've been directed by Mountain Lands as they are the approved body. I'm sure that they would share if there are pending changes or amendments to that process. We would know. I mean, we're currently staff working on the University Place report that we've been directed to. And so we're concentrating our efforts on that next, along with kind of bringing this one along to you all. And so I think it's a lot, we're trying to juggle a lot of balls, and sometimes maybe I hope maybe they'll take one out and we can juggle better. But that's, at this point, that's how we're moving forward.
okay, you think we'll be fine as far as if we do this in December, it still gives you time to do what you need?
I think so. As I mentioned, when I communicated with Mountain Lands, if y'all wanted to take more time tonight, and that's great. I think we got some good recommendations and good feedback to move forward with. They can just pause the review, or they can complete the review, but I can tell them, say, hey, we're gonna have some changes, they'll halt the review and we can send them a new updated plan to review.
Okay.
So,
and I do like the idea of just looking at what Provo's doing, look at what Lehigh's doing, I mean, because this is something the state invented, so it's not like.
yeah, and we could even look at, I mean, it's our region in Lehigh and Provo. There are not just those two stationary plans, there are stationary plans that have already been certified.
Yeah, there you
By
go.
Wasatch Front Regional Council, it might be wise to take a look at some of those. Maybe they have some similar contexts, maybe they have different contexts. And that's kind of the cool part of planning is you can kind of look at the unique fabric around and in your neighborhoods and your community and try to apply what you think is important there.
And I think there's some benefit to that, to not be version 1.1. We'll be version 3 because we can look at what everyone else is doing and try and optimize what we're doing.
Right?
When are we voting on this now for a couple months?
So the resolution's tonight, but we would table that?
I think we would probably
Continue
continue it, correct? And then.
What's your timeline? What meeting would you need us to put it on next?
I would have to get with John and our consultant on
Okay,
maybe after, I'll coordinate with
Okay.
Gary and Ryan to get your feedback and then.
And Jason can't retire until we do pass this, right?
Can we
All in favor?
can we do a substitute resolution and make that a condition? I think I'll coordinate to get your feedback, and then I think at that point we could finalize a date to come back to.
Can I just say, we as staff appreciate the difficulty with this particular subject.
Yeah.
We know that this is more than just a concept plan, it's more than just a study, it's more than just public interaction. It's kind of a hybrid of all these things, and so we can appreciate the difficulty trying to juggle all of that. We know that there's future things that could impact as well, and future coordination, not only with MAC, but the state and stuff, so appreciate, again, the feedback, and we'll just keep at it.
Okay. Sounds good. Everybody on the council good with that?
Yeah.
Basically.
Sounds well, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Almost there. Should we start with there?
Yeah, we just want one, item number 4. And then we'll grab some food and then we'll go through the agenda.
Mayor, and council, just real quick, I just wanted to introduce you to Lori Criman. I think some of you know her, but we stole her from the private sector a handful of years ago, and she's brought that same smile, patience, but also detail oriented, getting things done. And so I've wanted to bring her over as our new executive assistant. McKenna, she's been wonderful, but she has been tracked it over to our communications division to focus on her passion, which is graphic design. So super happy to have Lori's help for all of our needs and desires. So please feel free to use her. She's very capable and very solutions oriented. So wanted to just make sure that you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let's go ahead and go and grab some food, and then we'll come back and we'll just run through this agenda. Unless, you know what? We can do this. We can just do this agenda. It's pretty quick. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're on. Let's do this. Agenda review, city council reports. Dave Spencer, want to report on your commissions? Sure.
I don't have a video, but
I know, we were all one up, but
I didn't have.
Where's
much
your
time.
video?
I didn't have time for preparation, but
He got hurt, so it's hindered your.
yeah, I'm a little bit shy on that one, but so I'm over the senior commission, the rec commission, planning commission, and the public safety commission, which is in mothballs at the moment. So we resurrected it when we need it. So on the seniors, Gina does an excellent job with the seniors. Enrollment keeps going up and they're cooking their own meals, right? So I just remember many Thanksgivings ago, they're like, what are we feeding us? I don't know if it was turkey or anything. So it was mystery meat. So now you can tell what you're eating, and I think it's
Such a.
so, yeah, and Bryce, it's been good. So and the seniors have a lot of activities for the seniors, and it's just, everybody wants to take Gina because she's awesome. But I think we blocked her in, and that's one of my signs I've given to Bryce, that he's gonna keep her as long as we can, so. On the Recreation Commission, we just had Hillcrest Park grand opening, and I think we're looking at some other things to improve our parks, but anything else on the rec?
Orem youth soccer starts on Monday, and so we're back to fall, we're officially in fall sports.
So there you go, so. And I think the softball park is being used all the time, and it's been a good add from upgrading that to AstroTurf. Planning Commission, still moving forward, just had a big meeting last week, went till 8:30 or 9, talking about Canyon Park. And there was a negative recommendation, 7-0, so they really take their job seriously, and it's been fun to serve and see, how different people react to different things. So we have a broad spectrum on the planning commission, so I think it brings good, versatility there. That's about it.
One kudos to Dave as far as on the rec commission. I was talking to somebody the other day from some other city, and they were explaining to me that they brought their kids to Orem to play Orem youth baseball, because they were serious about baseball. They said Orem has like the best best youth baseball in the county. They were just going off about how great it was. I know Dave really active.
Dave doesn't really know much about baseball.
With North Youth baseball, it's not, like Provo City, the city runs it, right? So this is a volunteer group, and I think you get a different paradigm or different aspect of how baseball.
Passion.
Yes.
They do a great job.
One line Dave up, tell him we're gonna turn the parking lot, turn the fields into parking lot.
That's
He loves that, don't mind him.
That's an ignition point for me.
Gotta take his blood pressure medicine if we do that.
And that's why I ran, 11, 12 years ago. So.
Seems like 112.
That's the magic number today.
Yes. But that's it, so.
Anyway, that was a big
Good job,
compliment. I know you
well done.
worked a lot on that, so. All right, run through our agenda really fast. Like I said, it was like an easy one. Item 3, call to order for invocation. Whose friends are there? The Duncans?
So we had a steak pool party, pavilion there at Sarah Park, and this 8-year-old kid came to talk to me about pump track, right? Pump track. So it's a new thing, but cycling, I guess, so he's gonna come and speak today, so I asked him if he'd give the pledge, and his dad's gonna say the prayer, so they're gonna talk to us about pump track
Okay.
on their 3 minutes, so that's, I don't know, they were on our stake and thought it
You
was
want
a
me
good
to
time, I
let
needed
you-
somebody,
You want me to let you introduce them, or should we?
I can just say I met a stake.
Okay, I'll just say it
Do you
to
know-
people.
You know, the,
I don't think so.
I'll just
Other
let
than
you
seven board.
say something nice
Okay.
about
that's,
Dave, pump tracks are probably just new to you.
I think so. I'm a little older, I'm not riding my bike, but it's sort of like pickleball, but now it's.
We
pump
don't,
track.
we don't have a pump track, but we are looking at doing it. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, it is new, I'm just kidding.
I've already signed the check.
Okay,
You're so gracious, let's
Not
go.
really.
Is
we'll check the account.
is pump track like an updated version of the truck that they do in the stakes and all that?
No, it's a series
Pump
of
track.
Jen probably knows
I
very
thought
well.
pump track might be everyone takes bikes, like Taggart. Anyway,
So we, just Google it, but they showed me pictures and it looks, I guess kids spend all day there, so.
okay.
Sort of like a skate park, but it's for bikes.
Maybe bikes. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It builds some practice skills.
Okay, so item 6.1, a presentation on myHometown update. Presentation 2, citizens budget, something you just put together. Personal appearances, item 8, our consent items or the approval of minutes.
Mr. Mayor, on this point, 8.1, stop right there. We have been getting these so timely. And I just wanted to thank Mr.
Yes.
Thank you, the minutes have been much better.
Oh, yeah. Very timely, very accurate. So, great. 8.2, an appointment for the Metropolitan Water District of Orem. Dave Fox. Somebody contacted me about.
So,
that.
yes, I did. And it is Fox. It looks like Faux, but it is Fox. That's how they say it. He lives in Orem, of course. He lives actually not too far from us, Lennon.
Oh.
And he is, he's been a water operator and water irrigation expert for many years. Comes highly recommended from Tim Crandall. He was also on our Metropolitan Water District of Orem board. Tim's highly respected, of course, in the city of Orem. And I've known Dave for probably 20 years, so I look forward to working with him. He just texted me, said he will be here tonight, so you wanted to ask him to stand, and it's just to be recognized. That would be great.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so you know, that's on the consent items. In the scheduled items, item 9.1, appointment and swearing in. Taggart Bowen is city engineer. 9.2, a resolution designation of kindness week. That would be Jake Summer. At 9.3, approve a resolution for a temporary justice court. Talked about that a time or two ago. 9.4, resolution approving the form of approving as to form the Orem front runner stationary plan. So we're gonna have to continue that.
Steve, could you help us with the wording we should say?
Yeah, you just
Give
wanna
it to any one of us or
Yeah, you can just make a motion to table it.
to table with an unknown date?
Yes.
You like table.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay. Thank you. And then we've got item 10, communication items, which is never anything, right?
Yeah, we gotta take it off the minute.
You're trying to trick me.
Yeah, I know.
It's really more just to officially and publicly give you our financial updates on various.
If there is one, right?
That's
But if there isn't one, do I have to mention this?
Since it's usually been me that's been giving you communication items just as part of the city
Just as
manager.
part of
Right. Well, so we should like,
Teresa,
Get rid of that if we're not really gonna do it.
stop doing that.
If we're not gonna have one, just delete the phone. We don't wanna give Brandon any more space. Oh, you not, did you, Brandon?
We have one this time.
okay, so I've seen that ever since I've been in here, and it's always like.
It only took you 2.5 years.
But when we don't have a financial statement to share, we can just take it off.
But we do this day, we do today.
But I'm not sharing anything. I'm not saying.
Do you have one?
He has something to report tonight.
No, I don't.
It's in your packet.
Oh, do we need to make any action or just acknowledge it was there?
But you
No, I
don't
didn't
need
even
to.
say anything.
Just skip it.
Okay.
Okay,
See, if I don't need to say it, then take it off. But we,
It has to be, it's in the packet. It has to be on the agenda.
but, okay, I have this secret thing, but.
The public will love that.
Okay.
I mean, if you
We should
want,
figure out a
probably
better
just
solution for
indicate
that,
that you
but-
received a financial report for May in our council packet.
And that's all we need to state.
Yes, we have a
Okay.
financial report.
So it's online for your perusal, anybody who wants to see it. Okay.
That's right. So you do want me to say that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then I have 11 friends turn and then we adjourn. Okay, so let's move on. We'd like to offer a quick blessing on the food. Chris?
Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this day and for the moisture we've received. We're grateful for the opportunity to discuss important matters dealing with the city of Orem, the residents, and all who are hearing. We ask thy continued blessing upon our continued meetings, that all will go well. We're thankful for the food that's been provided and ask that it will nourish and strengthen us. We're appreciative of all of our blessings, which are all within the care of the city, our personal and other needs, desires as we go forth to bless others through service and through our community, which we ask in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Okay, so
So do you know Jim Bailey?
Turkey.
He was the temple president of Provo. Okay. Brent Riley is the other. So those are our two leads with us on this church. So they'll be coming here. Brent was president. Okay. So what's the
So we're a little late because we had some really good sandwiches. Sent you a sandwich in Orem. Go buy them for dinner.
All right. We'd like to call this meeting to order. We'd like to welcome you for coming out tonight. We appreciate your support. We'll start out with, we've got an invocation by Caleb Duncan and a Pledge of Allegiance by Peter Duncan. And Dave Spencer invited these folks to come. So if you'd like to just welcome them.
Yeah, so Saturday we had a steak pool party, and Peter wanted to talk about a pump track. And I don't know what a pump track was, but they showed me. So I asked them if they would give the prayer and the pledge, and then they can speak and talk to us about the pump truck or pump track later. So appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah, Caleb, if you'd like to come up and give us a prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this opportunity that we have to meet here together. We are grateful for this community we ask that thou will please bless each of us to be inspired and directed to know how we can best help this community to grow and to thrive. Please bless us with an understanding and a listening ear so that we can work together to solve challenging problems. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Peter, if you'd like to come up and lead us in the pledge, and if the audience would please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to one on which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First up on the agenda here, we've got item 6.1. We're going to have a presentation on something that we're pretty excited about that we've been working on for a while. It's called our Hometown Initiative, myHometown Initiative. And to start this off, Lene just wanted to say some things about this program that she'd been learning.
Yeah,
and
so
working
as
on, and then I was going to have Chris introduce the folks who are going to present.
So as the liaison to our neighborhood commission, I have had the distinct privilege of sitting in on these myHometown planning meetings and coordination meetings, watching the wonderful, the Ryries and the Berries and all the other people who have been, Amy Green that's been helping kick this off, and of course, Jenica and her amazing efforts, Trevor. So I just want to once again emphasize how excited we are that you chose Orem. So thank you so much, and we look forward to working with you more in the future.
Thank you, Chris. And if you'd like to just tell us a little bit about our presenters tonight.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce those who will be talking about more fully the myHometown initiative, and that's Brother Jim Berry and also Brent Ryrie. These two are wonderful residents of Orem. I've been here for a long time, and when I was a young man a long time ago, lived next door in the general vicinity of the Berries. So I had an opportunity to watch Jim Berry and his family grow, and his father was a stalwart in the community, leading music and lots of things that are really important to all of us in the community. And then watching, I won't go into too many details, but just appreciate the state record that was accomplished and held for many, many, many years till another Oremite broke that record, and his collegiate skills and many other accomplishments. These two fine men will represent this initiative within our city to bless all who are here in a powerful way. So I just commend them and what they'll present, but also they are living examples of what they'll talk about. Thank you.
Okay, and if the group would like to come up, and Jenica, you're going to lead this for the city, Jenica Jones.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We are so excited to share more about the progress and the current status of myHometown. We know this is one of the most highly anticipated programs for you as the Mayor and Council and as city staff as well. We're just thrilled to be partnering with myHometown to be able to bring needed resources to our community. And with that, I'll turn the time over to Jim and Brent to present on this.
There. We're delighted to be with you, and we feel it an honor to be before you today, and want to extend our thanks to you for all the service that you provide for Orem City. I was born and raised right here in Orem, so I've been here a long time, and just delighted that we have this calling to serve with you. And a couple other things that we're delighted in, and is your enthusiasm and your willingness to welcome us here so fully. And we've been given such a great team to work with Jenica and Pete and others. We couldn't have asked for anything more. You've just been great to serve here, for us to be here. So you want to start that? This is a list of the objectives of my hometown, and I just want to read through that because I think it's important that we understand what we're all about. It's to revitalize neighborhoods, improve lives, create friendships, offer educational learning experiences, foster a sense of belonging and pride to one's neighborhood, and create opportunities to be of service to one another. And this is not brand new. This is a tried and true program. It started in West Valley City. It's in Salt Lake, Ogden, and Provo. And so we'll be the Geneva Heights stake will be the 15th community that has started. And I don't think any community has started with as much enthusiasm as Orem City has had for it. So thank you. This is a non-denominational initiative. We've been in contact with Centerpoint Church. Mike Smith is the lead pastor there, and he feels like their members will want to be involved. We've talked with the Grace Baptist Church. Daniel Long is the pastor there, and he feels that his group wants to be involved too. There are others that have a little more red tape to get into them, but we will pursue those in the future. We're working with Habitat for Humanity and United Way. In fact, we'll be teaching some of United Way's courses at the CRC, which stands for Community Resource Center. You've already learned a little bit about myself, but my wife, we are chairs together. Her father was the principal of the seminary at Orem High School, and then he was the principal of the seminary at Mountain View High, and then he was the institute director at UVU for 13 years and remodeled the institute building 3 times because it was just expanding. Von Thomas. But the person I really want to introduce is Brent Ryrie and his wife Beverly. They are amazing, and they have been called to be the executive directors of the My Hometown for Geneva Heights. And of course, in the future, we'll pick other areas in Orem to be another site. So I'm going to turn the time over to Brent because he is going to introduce what we've done. You wanted an update. He'll give you the update.
Thank you, Jim. We're delighted to be with you tonight as well. And I want to echo what Jim said about the enthusiasm we have about partnering with Orem. You folks have been really a miracle. And when we attend these meetings, just the outpouring of support, encouragement, enthusiasm has just really been unmatched. So we congratulate you for your support, your interest. We really feel a partnership. And we just love it. It really is characteristic of this great city that we're all so proud of. And behind us is an army of missionaries and volunteers. 2 months ago, we had 0. And you can see it's growing. We're not all here tonight, but 40 plus of us are preparing now for a launch here real soon. I just want to give emphasis. Jim and Marilyn have responsibility for all city interactions. They have responsibility for all of my hometown in the city of Orem. My wife and I, Beverly and I, are responsible for the implementation of the Geneva Heights community. In time, as we are successful and create a good pattern, we'll launch another community. With your input, Jim and Marilyn will then approach another couple, and they'll be called to be executive directors of that community, and on we go. And so you'll help us identify those kinds of needs in your communities here in Orem. So my wife and I have the response as executive directors. We have the responsibility of helping to organize this specific community. We wanted to just give you a real quick snapshot of how we're ordered. We have 3 areas of emphasis. The first one is a community resource center. And you can see here, we have a couple of couples that provide leadership to us. Bart and Renee, are you back there? Would you stand quickly? They are the associate directors. They have everything to do. They have full responsibility for the Community Resource Center. And reporting to them, working very closely with them, is Howard and Vicki Gardner. Are you here, Howard and Vicki? If you'd please stand, I think I saw you come in. These folks are responsible for day to day, all of the coursework, all of the teaching, all of the experience that our patrons will have. These two couples share that responsibility to create that kind of a center, a community center where people love to come. Now, by the way, there are a couple of these down in Provo and soon to be 3. We've walked into these centers and we can't begin to tell you how we feel. These people, these patrons, they feel love and they feel safe. They feel gratitude that people want to serve them so gladly, so happily. These folks are the ones that are going to help us create that culture there where these people want to come, be served, and feel part of this Orem community. The second dimension, and by the way, these are just a sampling of some of the classes that we'll teach as we launch our CRC on September the 10th. Will we open? We'll be teaching English as a second language, Spanish as a second language. There are a lot of Hispanics in this particular community, but there's also a lot of English that want to learn Spanish so they can communicate more effectively with their neighbors or as employees to their as employers to their employees. So it's really exciting that people will embrace these opportunities. Basic computer, basic sewing. Now, we won't be teaching all of these classes out of the chute, but in time as this matures, you're going to see us launch a variety of classes based upon the input from the community. Now, we just had 2 focus groups here just a week or so ago. We got some wonderful input. I think there were probably 19 topics that were represented. We can't do all those at the beginning, but as this community matures, you'll walk into that center and you'll see all kinds of classes. Some of them will be twice a night for 12 weeks. Some of them might be just 3 nights. Some will be short seminars, but there's a variety. Community courses, Everyday Strong, Jim just talked about that. We'll have a homework tutoring lab. We think this is going to be one of the more popular ones where young people from the community come to the resource center and find wonderful, bright, either young single adults or adults wanting to teach and help these young people with homework. And then we'll have a children's center where children will be cared for while their parents, who couldn't come otherwise, are in class. So that gives you a sense for the Community Resource Center. Then, and by the way, this picture right here represents the Geneva Heights Stake Center. It's an older building. I'm glad we're in here, right? It's an older building, but it's beautiful. And there's a wonderful spirit there. It's big. Did I say something wrong? And so we're really, really grateful to the Geneva Heights Stake for making this building available to us. And we just want you to know they are all on board, have committed 2 nights a week to use the building as a community resource center. In time, we'll have beautiful flags. It'll be beautifully branded. People will know what's happening. And in time, the community will embrace that center and they will feel like it's their center. This is where we go. This is where we find a commonality with our neighbors. And so we're really excited about that. The second dimension is called neighborhood services. And this is where, boy, I've never felt competition like this. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, get close to your mic.
Okay, thank you. Neighborhood services where we go out into the community and we help with needs in the neighborhood. We have people, for example, that maybe struggle to keep up with their yard work. Fences start to, are in disrepair. Homes need repainting. Refuge needs to be removed. Trees that are dead that need to be cut down and removed. And so we will have 6 large service projects a year in the spring and the summer. And we might have anywhere from 5 to 10, 12 service projects on each of those days. And we might have as many as 20 to 25 people on each of those projects. It's inspiring for me. I know even in my own ward or stake, I get assigned to these service projects. You get all excited about it, and there's just this overwhelming need, and you get there and there's 2 of you that show up. That won't be the case with my hometown. We'll be using volunteers from the community, the neighborhood, but we also will be asking people on the outside of that community in Orem and other communities to come in and help. We can draw upon stakes, if you will, all through Orem and all the way up to the point of the mountain if we need. We're going to have plenty of people And by the way, as our community becomes more familiar with my hometown, there's a growing enthusiasm. Everybody wants to be a part of this. We've been down to UVU. We've been to a number of the YSA stakes. We were over at the UVU Institute, which teaches 6,000 students at any given time over there. They are so excited about having their students participate in my hometown. So we're not going to be wanting for needs and for volunteers. We really believe it's going to be magical in this community. We have a couple with us, Claire and Sandy. Call, are you with us? They are our associate directors. They have been trained out in Provo. They come to Orem. They're very well equipped, and we're really excited to have them help us with neighborhood services. Bill and Joyce, are you here? Okay. Anyway, so that gives you a sense of the kind of, we'll be involved with home repairs, painting, landscape. We actually have a project we're working on right now. A couple that lives in the Geneva Heights community who has a code violation, a huge cluster of trees that have created a safety issue. And we're working with the city of Orem and our neighborhood services, and we anticipate within the next several weeks, those trees will be down. And we're really excited about helping these people who otherwise could not do this, but my hometown is going to be a help to them. We're really excited about that. Here's just a picture of some people involved with the various projects on a particular, we call these days of service. That lingo will become familiar to all of us in time. And these are the kind of things that we'll do 6 times a year. And the neat thing is we'll start these at usually about 8 o'clock in the morning. The goal is to be done by 11, but we always try to be done by 10. Then they'll come back, right? Oh, we like projects that end early. But I'll tell you, in 2 hours, you will be amazed at what we'll be able to get accomplished in the community. So it's really exciting. And then finally, we have a dimension to my hometown that is involved with creating activity. We call, in fact, I call Amy. Amy, are you here? Some of you know Amy. Oh, where did she go? Okay. Amy Green, she's, I know, on the neighborhood commission. We're thrilled to have her part of my hometown as a missionary here. And we call her the director of fun. The idea is 3 times a year, we'll have 3 great big parties. We'll have a grand opening here in the next couple of weeks, but we'll have a spring party, a summer swim party, and a fall barbecue or something like that. And this just gives you a sense. This was a pool party that we had down in Provo with one of the Provo communities recently, and a lot of fun. You can see they had the little blow up beach balls that were branded my hometown, and the sunglasses. It was so fun to see these kids put the sunglasses on and wear them throughout the night. It was just really a lot of fun. And then plenty of food. We love to eat, and we just love to celebrate. So that just gives you a sense for the organization. The organization is all fleshed out. We are taking on lots of additional missionaries and volunteers to help us with our teaching. We still have a lot to do before early September, but things are moving along in a productive way. I think we just, in summary, just share with you, leadership is in place. 40+ service missionaries and volunteers are in place and growing. The CRC is established and being equipped. The LDS Church, which is a full sponsor now of my hometown, gives us a very healthy budget in partnership with Orem. And I know you share a similar interest. You want to make sure that this is appropriately funded and supported. We thank you for all that you will do to help us in that regard. Teachers being identified, assigned, and trained. Community and faith groups are being reached out to. The website, we hope, the My Hometown website will be launched, we believe, this week. And we're really excited about that. This is not going to be just a unique website that we built. We've been waiting because My Hometown Utah is building a website that will be used across all of the communities. And so you'll see evidence of that here in the next few days. We're outfitting our neighborhood services people. That's all in progress. We have dates now for all of the days of service for 2025, and that will be on a calendar soon, and you'll be able to see that. The grand opening celebration is August 24th. That's just in days. And we hope we don't have this kind of activity on that night, but we're looking forward to that and so grateful for Jenica, Pete, and so many others in the Orem, on the Orem team that are really, really making that possible with your resources. And you folks have such great big event planning capability, and we're just so grateful. Thank you so very much. So we just want to say thank you for the partnership. It's been wonderful. It couldn't be better. We have no complaints. We want you to know that there's a lot of energy on our side. A lot of us are just working feverishly to get this done. We give tribute to these wonderful folks behind me. If I could just have all of our My Hometown team, if you would stand, please, so we can just see you all. Boy, it's going to get quiet when they leave. Thank you. Any questions at all that we can answer for you tonight?
So what nights or what is the stake center going to be used? What?
Tuesday and Thursday nights, typically
Thursday.
between 6:30 and 8. We'll be there early to set up. We'll be there to take down afterwards, but the classes will usually go for a period of 90 minutes. And in time, you'll find that's just going to be a real electric place. There'll be a wonderful spirit there, and there'll be lots of fun chatter and with just a real sense of community and lots of love and care. Please. You know, that's the neat thing about being a church service missionary in my hometown. No ties, jeans, and I mean, we look presentable, but it's very comfortable. In time, the church missionaries wear name tags. Those of us who are missionaries, wear a nice name tag on Sundays. But otherwise, it will be a lanyard. My name will be Brent, not elder or brother or whatever. We're just part of the community. We just want people to know that this is what we're at. And I want to just give emphasis to what Jim said. We really know that this is a non-denominational initiative. We would be just as happy sponsoring this in the local Catholic diocese if that was open to us. And I think in time, people are going to find out that this really is, even though it's sponsored by the church, we're not promoting the church. And the church doesn't want us to promote. It's all about go love your neighbor and help improve and help people that need help. And so that's what we're about. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Or I will say our expectations are very, very high on this program. And in the entire time I've been here, we've never had such a divine show during the presentation. So there must be some good things about to come.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that. Thank you, Mary Young.
And if we can, I'd like to invite all of our volunteers up for a picture with you as the mayor and council as well.
Oh, yeah, we could stay back here.
You think? Maybe we should go.
Let's have everyone, volunteers come down if we can. We'll have to try to do a couple levels, some squatting. Try to find a window.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Mayor and Council, if I can just briefly express appreciation for the My Hometown group as well. Back in January at your retreat, you emphasized your area of focus to renew Orem, renew neighborhoods, have more service opportunities. As we reached out to my hometown closely thereafter, I think there was some initial trying to manage of our expectations, but we, along with you, have quickly had that same excitement and passion at the possibilities. So super appreciate the My Hometown group for working with us quickly to get this going faster than I think maybe any of us dared to hope initially. So
Thank you. All right. That was quite the show. Let's move on to item 6.2. And again, this would be our strategies and innovation group. And Jenica and Trevor. Yeah, so if you'd like to tell us a little bit about this project, and I'll just give it a quick intro. As far as I'm excited about this. This is our citizens budget fiscal year document. And we spend, as a council, we spend an inordinate amount of time on the budget every year. But it's a lot of information and it's complicated and there's a lot going on. And over the last few years, we've tried to create as much transparency in what we're doing as your government. And with that in mind, this citizens budget is really an attempt to boil down all that complicated jargon into something that makes sense for our average citizen and create the transparency that we like to see. And there's a lot of exceptional things going on. Our budget is extremely well run. One of the things that we're really proud of is that we just got a AAA rating by S&P and Fitch, which is pretty unprecedented for just cities in general. There's very few, I think less than 5% if I remember right. So anyway, with that in mind, if you'd like to tell us about this little project.
Mayor and Council, I'm thrilled to be able to present this budget book or citizens budget book to you today. This represents a significant initiative that reflects the city's ongoing commitment to transparency, accountability, and community engagement, especially in our financial management area. I'd like to begin by recognizing the incredible work done by our strategies and innovations division. This project is a testament to their forward-thinking approach and dedication to making complex financial information accessible and understandable to our residents. The Citizens Budget Book was created to, essentially, as Mayor mentioned, to simplify. Imagine it's 297 beautiful pages of work that represents 9 months of planning and forecasting, 6 public meetings, countless hours, and what would appear to be an uncountable number of emails in my inbox to get to this. And so then to have to take that and boil it down is incredible. And so ultimately, this project exemplifies the power of collaboration across our city departments, because this was not something that the finance department asked for. This was something that Jenica and her team came up with, and they've given us a tool to help present our financial data going into the future. Then their innovative approach has really set a new standard for how we display our financial information to our residents. I'm pleased to announce that going forward, we'll be including the citizens budget concurrently with the production of our traditional budget. And so we'll be presenting 2 of those to you so you can use it as a tool to build a better Orem. In closing, I wanted to express my deep appreciation for the Strategy and Innovations Division leadership on this project. Their vision and hard work produce the resource that will serve our city for years to come. I encourage all of you to take time to explore the Citizens Budget Book and share it with your constituents. Together, we continue to build a more informed and engaged Orem.
Thank you.
So I'll just add a couple small items. So we have it digitally online. It's on our website. It's on both the city finances page. It's linked with the other budget documents. And we also have it on the transparency portal. It's down at the bottom, so you can refer people there, look at it there. We'll also have printed copies available at our help center and in the library. So if you want to encourage people to access it there. And we provided you all with printed copies today as well. And yeah, super grateful for my staff and our intern Taylor, who took the lead on this and making it a great document and very accessible for the community. We've seen similar things done in some other cities, but I feel like ours is the best yet, of course. And not very many cities do this type of thing. And I think it is a testament to making sure that we do want to be transparent and accountable to our constituents and making that accessible. So thank you for your support.
And I just want to say to our strategies and innovation team, you guys are doing an amazing job, and you're doing exactly what we created you to do. I mean, as far as this is to bring innovation and new ideas and thinking outside the box to Orem. So you're doing a phenomenal job. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, and I just want to say, you know, we talk about transparency. When I came into office, that was one of the main things is we really wanted to increase resident engagement through helping them understand through transparency. This is it. I mean, you guys have just done, I'm thumbing through this. This is amazing. Thank you for all your hard work and just really making the city of Orem understandable to its residents. That's what you're doing here, making our budget more understandable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 7. We've got personal appearances. We've got three comments here, and we'll start out first with Caleb Duncan.
So Peter and I are here tonight because we would like the City Council and the Parks and Rec Department to consider adding a pump track to our community. Peter's giving a little handout right there. It's got a picture of what a pump track is and a couple QR codes that link to some YouTube videos that you can see a pump track in action. It's kind of hard to get to grasp what a pump track is for those of you who don't know, but I'll try to explain it best I can. A pump track is basically a rideable playground. It's perfect for scooters, skateboards, kids' bikes, BMX bikes, mountain bikes. Pump tracks are made up of small hills and banked turns that are used to gain speed and momentum without needing to pedal or push. It's stand right here. Kind of think of it like a swing, right? You can sit on a swing, gain momentum by pumping your legs. You can do the same thing on a bike, a scooter, a skateboard on this track. Peter and I think that a pump track fits perfectly with Orem's goals. Pump tracks serve many different age groups, from toddlers on balance bikes, teenagers learning to jump, to parents and grandparents wanting to spend time with their kids. Pump tracks are the perfect amenity for Family City USA because the whole family can go and ride and have a fun time at the varying skill levels of a family. Pump tracks are an amazing workout and help promote active lifestyle through cycling, scooting, skating. Pump tracks build community, and they're a great place to meet people and make friends. Pump tracks can serve a lot of individuals without being overly expensive. Peter and I on Saturday went and rode the new pump track in Springville and was talking to a guy there who works in the Parks and Rec department there. He said that their half-acre pump track costs about $350,000. Pump tracks are designed for heavy use, are made out of asphalt, typically last 20 years, and they require almost zero maintenance, which is a huge benefit for a busy Parks and Rec department. Pump tracks can be built on any flat land with as little as a 1/4 acre footprint, an ideal site being about 1/2 to 3/4 of an acre. So we can kind of fit it in wherever we have the space. There are currently 7 pump tracks in Utah, all of which have been built in the last 2.5 years. And I think that speaks to community leaders from Kanab to West Valley. They've kind of caught the vision of this is a kind of a good bang for the buck project for their communities and help achieve the goals, some of the goals in their communities with this one investment. So thank you.
Thank you.
And then Peter would like to make a comment or two.
Okay, Peter.
Stand on this chair. Why don't you tell us why you want a pump track in Orem?
On a pump track, there's multiple reasons. Mostly because it's fun and all ages can go. And it doesn't scare anyone going down rough downhills or anything.
Why do we want one in Orem?
Because we have pump trucks, but we're so far away from most of them, like a half hour away. So we want one in Orem.
Thank you. Makes sense. Thank you. Jen?
I appreciate you coming and talking about that. I'm a big believer in pump tracks. And in fact, the city is already got one sort of tentatively in the works. And so hopefully your comment will spur us to more action. But our rec director's gone and our public works director must be out there. But
Well, any help you need, we're happy to shovel dirt, move asphalt, whatever's needed, all right?
we'll put you to work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we've got Kevin Elmer.
Mayor, Council, I'm here to request either a feasibility study or see if one has been done on the area of 600 North and 800 East. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's where Harmon's grocery store is, 2 blocks to the south. That's approximately where I live. The reason why I'm asking is I have a 7-year-old granddaughter that I have to cross that street twice a day to catch the school bus, but it stops at the church across the street from where I live. They can't stop on 800, I guess. The junior high bus stops there and picks up my grandson, but my granddaughter is too young and has to cross that street. So as a result, the last year, I was a crossing guard voluntarily twice a day for about 12 kids to cross the street, get on the bus in the morning, and to cross the street to come home in the afternoon. I know the speed limit is posted 35 along that area. There's a sign, a block and a half each way. The reason I'm here is there's no crosswalk, nothing painted, nothing, no signage of anything. I'd like to request that the city look into painting a crosswalk there. I've called in 3 or 4 times to the city and talked to someone. My neighbor next door tried to do this last year, but nobody's come before the council. I think it's time that maybe we try to protect some of these children. I know in the last year or 2 years, along my street within 2 blocks, there's been 3 cars that have been rear-ended by people texting. So I'm just here to request maybe somebody look into this. Maybe we can get a crosswalk in that area, 600 North and 800 East. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've taken note. We'll have our traffic Taggart team look at it. Yes. Yep. Happy to.
Okay, so Kevin, you got your phone number on here, correct? Okay, so we'll have somebody follow up with you and see where we go. Thank you. Hey. Next up, we've got our consent items. And we've got item 8.1, which is approval of meeting minutes. These are the minutes from July 9th, 2024. And we've also got an appointment to the Metropolitan Water District of Orem, and that's Dave Fox. Would someone like to make a motion?
I move that we approve the consent items.
Second?
Aye.
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 The consent items pass.
Is Dave here?
Dave's here. Yeah. Sam stand if he's here. Dave Fox? Stand.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know if I'll still stand for.
You're on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
so much for willingness to serve.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Thank you. And we'll move on to the scheduled items. First item 9.1. This is an appointment and swearing in. This is Taggart Bowen will be sworn in as a city engineer with the advice and the consent of the council. Taggart, are you here? If you'd like to come up and bring your wife up. And Steve, if you'd like to guide us.
Yeah, so as the agenda notes, this is with the advice and consent of the council. That just means that the council would vote to confirm the appointment of Taggart as the city engineer.
We need a motion.
You need a motion, yeah.
I move that we approve the appointment of Taggart Brown as the city engineer.
Bowen.
Bowen.
Taggart Bowen.
Oh, sorry, I blew it. Taggart Bowen as a city engineer.
I'll
Second.
second that. Oh,
Yeah, a couple seconds.
we all like you,
3
Taggart.
seconds.
Third.
Aye.
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 It's unanimous. You're officially approved.
Now sworn in.
Now, if we'd like to have a swearing in,
I, Taggart Bowen,
I, Taggart Bowen,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Utah,
the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Orem.
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Orem.
And I will discharge the duties
And I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
thank you. Congratulations.
Want to say anything or no?
Mayor and council, I want to say that I consider Taggart a kindred spirit. He's a consummate professional, comes with a lot of great experience, and just couldn't speak more highly of someone more deserving for this particular position and honor. So thank you.
Thank you, Brent. And thank you, Taggart. Okay, next we've got item 9.2. This is a resolution, the designation of Kindness Week. And Jake Summers, would you like to present that?
Mayor and council, thank you for the time this evening. The resolution that is before the council this evening is to designate the first week of May as Kindness Week. It would be in conjunction with the birthday of the city of Orem, which is May 4th. And part of this is to allow us to become certified as a city of kindness. And Jenica can speak a little bit more of the organization that would certify us as a city of kindness. And then I can speak a little bit more to what the resolution does.
Okay, so this is part of the One Kind Act a Day Foundation that you heard from a few meetings ago, that they came in and gave a presentation about what they can offer to cities, and they can certify us as an official city of kindness. But part of that, they would like the city to pass a resolution designating at least a day, but we're doing a week, or we're proposing a week of kindness to build upon what has been done in the past. But we would love to surround it around Orem's birthday to really commemorate what we believe Orem's about is kindness and building families and making sure that we're fostering those connections. So this resolution helps them as they come into the city, and they're able to go to our schools and businesses and able to show that the city council and the mayor are in support of this initiative, and they're able to give out things like yard signs and door clings and all of those things that they talked about. And they're fully funded, not asking for anything from the city, but we're excited about this effort and our partnership with them, that we can continue to build upon what we've done and become and continue the kindness in Orem. So.
And then specifically the resolution, as I said before, establishes a specific week for the Kindness Week. It encourages residents, businesses, and community organizations to participate in Kindness Week. Also, the city would authorize the city to use media, social media, and appropriation of funds to promote Kindness Week and the engagement of the public in that.
That sounds good. Do we have any questions?
No, so Steve, is it just, if you make a motion, is just the resolution to designation of kindness?
Just a motion to approve the resolution. Yes.
I can make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, the city council, a resolution of designation of a kindness week.
First week of May.
First week of May?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Second that.
That means Tom thirded it.
Oh, did you? I'll third it then.
Lene did.
Okay, now we'll get down to voting.
I'm really excited about Kindness Week. Aye.
Definitely aye.
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 Resolution passes. Thank you. Got a lot of good things passing here in Orem.
We think we can be nice 1 week a year.
Hey, Caleb. Hey, Bryce, can you go talk with Caleb about the pump track? Thank you.
Okay, item 9.3. This is a resolution, a temporary judge for the Justice Court. Jake, if you'd like to explain that to
Yes.
us.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Before the council is a resolution which authorizes the appointment of temporary judges for the Orem City Justice Court. The Orem City Justice Court currently has a judge, Judge Reed Parkin. But from time to time, Judge Parkin needs to go on vacation, needs to be able to use his sick leave and vacation leave. And it's in those times, or also where there might be a conflict, that we need to seek the appointment of a temporary judge to handle a conflict case. And that is what this resolution allows. In 2018, the council adopted a similar resolution. However, many of the individuals listed on that resolution have since retired and have left the bench. So this resolution, rather than specifically naming specific judges, allows any judge appointed as a justice court judge within the 4th District or any adjacent county and any senior judge to come in and fill in temporarily for Judge Parkin. That is what this resolution proposes.
So this is basically taking something that we've done in the past, just updating it and expanding it, right?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions?
So are these judges, are these people that are just kind of sitting in the bullpen, so to speak, ready to be put to work? Where do these judges come from?
So there are two designation of judges here. There are currently sitting judges within the 4th District Court that are Justice Court judges. They have active calendars. It may be the Provo City Justice Court judge or the Linden City Justice Court judge, or they may come from adjacent counties, like the Bluffdale Justice Court judge is a judge that often fills in. Their calendars may be a lot lighter than the Orem City Justice Court judge, so they have some flexibility in their calendar to act as a substitute judge. The second classification of judges is the senior judges. Those are judges that are retired and have left the bench, but they stay active. They're certified by the administrative office of the court to act as senior judges. So yes, in essence, they are in the bullpen. They're enjoying their retirement, but they still want to keep one foot in the practice of law.
Any other questions? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. That the city council by resolution, the temporary judge for justice court.
Second?
Aye.
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 Resolution passes. Thank you. Okay, next up, we've got item 9.4. And this is a resolution approving us to form the Orem Frontrunner Station Area Plan for Station Area Plan certification. And we discussed this earlier, and I think we want to table it for now. Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we move to table this item.
Second?
Aye.
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 The motion is tabled. Or the resolution is tabled. Okay. And we move to item 10. We received monthly financial statements. We just want to acknowledge that. And then item 11, some city manager information items.
Yes, just real quick, wanted you to be aware of some upcoming events that are popular. One, we've got our employee appreciation party this Thursday here at City Center Park at noon. Love to have you there to help hand out those employee awards. We have the kind of the final summer event that's a big deal where we get a lot of attendance is our Come Together Festival. That'll be this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. again here at the City Center Park. On Monday, the American Legion is sponsoring a car show at Sierra. from 4 to 8 p.m. So that's Monday the 19th. And then also just wanted to give you a heads up. We just started our annual employee giving campaign. And even though we're all in the business of serving our community every day, this is just an opportunity for us as employees to kind of show that we really care, to go that little extra mile. You may not know, over the last couple of years, this has resulted in just over $40,000 in giving from our employees. And in both of those years, we beat Provo City's employees in giving. And so this is something we want to continue to do, obviously, and of particular emphasis will be, in addition to the myriad of ways that employees can give, we'll add in our Gold Star Family Monument and Freedom Plaza project as well. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. All right. I think we've covered everything. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Tom wants to stay.
I want to stay.
You want to say? Okay, well, we'll have everyone adjourn except for Tom, and he can stay here.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn this meeting except for Tom.
I second that motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
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 Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Over my opposition though, Mr. Mayor.